The city of Athens lifts the mask mandate.
Plus, two sisters from Athens are facing charges in connection to the January 6th insurrection.
And in sports, we head out to Bowling Green for a preview of tonight's Ohio men's basketball matchup.
Newswatch starts right now. Good evening, I'm Madison Moore.
And I'm Curtis Fader. Welcome to Newswatch, your source for the latest information on news impacting southeastern Ohio. People in the city of Athens are no longer required to wear masks. Just in time for the good weather, City Council last night tabled a proposal to extend that mask mandate that expired today. Mayor Steve Patterson pointed out the fluctuating levels of spread in Athens County makes it hard for businesses to enforce mask mandates. Now it is up to businesses on whether they want to require masking. On the other hand, in response, Ohio University lifted mask restrictions on non-classroom settings in all of their campuses. They are also required on-campus transportation regardless of COVID-19 community level in the community. University spokesperson Carly Leatherwood says classroom and collaborative spaces will remain in masked areas.
So an example might be Baker University Center, that there aren't not classroom spaces in Baker, so you don't need to mask in Baker any longer. However, like students in classrooms or laboratories, if there's like studios for fine arts or other creative projects, clinical settings, those all require a mask still.
Only the Chillicothe and Southern campuses are located in counties with a high community level where masks are still required in all indoor public spaces today, according to the CDC. The Athens City School District also eased mask mandates, declaring yesterday that masks will become optional starting next week. The CDC now recommends mask requirements only when a county has high rates of COVID-19 transmission, and Superintendent Tom Gibbs reports the county falls below the threshold. Gibbs also wrote that individual contact tracing and individual notifications will only occur when necessary, while also maintaining that harassing a person's choice to wear a mask or not will not be tolerated at the school. Now here's Henry Groff with a first look at your weather.
Thank you, Curtis. So today we saw really nice weather. Temperatures were up to the low 60s. And looking at this picture that we took today outside near the Baker Center, looking out at the chemistry building at Ohio University, we saw plenty of sunshine and only some fair clouds. But this look, we're going to keep that heading into tomorrow. But for right now, looking at the temperatures, it's in the low 60s, partly cloudy. It feels really dry right now with humidity of around 28%. And we do have a wind out from the southwest at around 5 miles per hour. And across the regions, temperatures are still relatively warm. So if you have the opportunity, definitely open a window in your house to let some of that fresh air. It really does feel nice outside right now. And looking at my weather for later, we're going to be seeing sunny weather continue, and we may see some rain heading into this weekend. But for now, back to Madison.
Two Athens County sisters are expected to join their brother today to face federal charges regarding their involvement in the January 6, 2021 insurrection on the U.S. Capitol. Albany, Ohio natives 27-year-old Abigail Yazdani and 33-year-old Loru Yazdani each face 3 misdemeanor charges after being captured on video by authorities demonstrating in the Capitol. Their brother, 31-year-old Elijah Yazdani, had already been charged with similar offenses in May 2021. The 3 siblings are scheduled for an initial appearance in the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia in Washington via video conference today. Jury selections is underway in the first federal trial for a person charged in the January 6 Capitol insurrection. Defendant Guy Reffitt is facing 5 charges regarding his involvement in the insurrection. Prosecutor says he brought a gun to the Capitol, battled police, and threatened his children to keep quiet when he returned home to Texas after the attack. Federal prosecutors questioned 34 potential jurors Monday, with many D.C. residents still having strong feelings about the attack. Some potential jurors were dismissed because of how strongly they felt. Witness testimony could begin today or tomorrow. The court is not allowing the media or public inside the court for evidence presentation or witness testimony. Not even the defendant's wife can attend. The courthouse has had strict coronavirus protocols for months, making sure jurors are spread out. The trial is expected to last more than a week.
The Ohio House Government Oversight Committee passed legislation that allows Ohioans to conceal carry without a permit. Sub-Senate Bill 215 would also remove required training and background checks from concealed carry requirements. Police agencies, including the Ohio Fraternal Order of Police, have opposed this bill due to it lifting the requirement of concealed carriers to let an officer know that they are armed. On the other hand, Rob Sexton from the Buckeye Firearms Association said that there is data that shows that law-abiding gun owners are not the ones to be feared, but the ones who need protecting. The bill now goes to the full Ohio House for its approval before arriving at Ohio Governor Mike DeWine's desk to sign into law. Athens residents can now participate in one of the nation's fastest growing sports. And what to expect from President Biden's first State of the Union address. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
The United States of America is a country blessed with the most breathtaking scenery in the world. From every national park to every backyard garden. Join us for a grand adventure from sea to shining sea. The United States of America is a country blessed with the most breathtaking scenery in the world. From every national park to every backyard garden. Join us for a grand adventure from sea to shining sea.
On country music, Vietnam divides America.
Rednecks, hippies, anti-Vietnam, pro-Vietnam.
Bob Dylan meets Johnny Cash.
Dylan and Dad together, that was an explosion.
And Chris Christopherson comes to Nashville.
Chris Christopherson is probably the best songwriter. Compare Chris with Gershwin or anybody else.
When country music continues.
We're all living with too much toxic stress, emotional turmoil, and frustrating disruptions affecting every aspect of our lives. But it doesn't have to be that way. Dr. Deepak Chopra shows us a path filled with inner peace, vibrant energy, and profound joy. Ancient wisdom combined with the latest in scientific research. Please join us for Deepak Chopra, your path to enlightenment.
The Ohio University Tennis Center, for the first time since before the pandemic, is having pickleball players play in the center. I have Sarah Donaldson here to report with the details.
That's right, Curtis. The first open play was last night, and a few dozen people showed up to check out the newly lined courts.
And as the sport becomes more popular nationwide, pickleball is still growing in town too.
For Greg Lavelle, the happiest place on earth is in Florida, but it's not where you're thinking.
I don't know if you've heard of the Villages in Florida, and when I saw that they had 160 pickleball courts and 60-some tennis courts, I told my wife, I said, we've got to go visit a place like that. And it was like Disneyland for retired people. I mean, it was incredible.
Lavelle's enthusiasm for the sport started after a vacation in Arizona. He says pickleball is like tennis, but the court is shorter, the paddles are different, and games are played with a wiffle ball. In 2018, Lavelle was a U.S. Open pickleball gold medalist.
That's probably will be the highlight of my career, to have that gold medal.
According to the Sports and Fitness Industry Association, Lavelle's sport is now the fastest growing in the United States. He says pickleball used to be reserved for people 65 plus in retirement communities.
Well, it's a lot easier than tennis on my body. It's why I mainly switched over to pickleball. And it's just as fun as tennis, but physically it's easier.
But players of all ages, some making the switch from tennis, are swarming the sport.
Now, Lavelle says he and others are thrilled to be back on the courts at Ohio University after nearly 2 years. But that's not the only change that could be coming to pickleball in Athens.
With the state of our current tennis courts, they are in disrepair from years of flooding, and there are 2 pickleball courts painted onto the current tennis courts.
Introduced by Councilmember Micah McCary, the Athens City Council is currently considering approving the construction of new tennis and pickleball courts. Jordan says the city is eyeing a location across East Park Drive, where the East State Street Dog Park is.
We're looking at that facility or that area because we're hoping that we wouldn't have the same flooding issues in that area.
And as pickleball grows in Athens as well as everywhere else, Lavelle, who also serves on the Recreation Advisory Board, hopes to see the project come to fruition.
For me,
For anyone in Athens interested in trying out pickleball, Lavelle recommends getting connected with the local pickleball community online on Facebook and at athenspickleball.org or by attending a clinic in town.
Thanks for the great work, Sarah. Governor Mike DeWine signed a bill into law on Monday protecting athletes' religious expression. The law prohibits school sports regulators from requiring advanced waivers and the restriction of participants based on religious apparel unless it causes a, quote, legitimate danger. The bill's sponsor, Senator Teresa Gavarone, researched legislation based on the experience of Toledo cross-country runner Noor Abu Karam, who inspired the law. In 2019, Abu Karam was disqualified from racing while wearing her hijab without a waiver. Since, the Ohio High School Athletic Association has changed its rules for referees to approve such head coverings without a waiver.
The Ohio men's basketball team is down to its final 2 games of the regular season. The Bobcats are set to take on Bowling Green at the top of the hour. Sports Director Brian Kerb joins us live from the Stroh Center with more on what is on the line for both teams. Brian?
Hey, happy Tuesday, Madison. Right now, both teams are down on the court getting ready for some midweek action. Now, the Bobcats and Falcons might be on opposite ends of the standings, but tonight there is still a lot at stake for both teams. Ohio is coming off a loss to Akron Friday that dropped it to 14-4 in the MAC. The Bobcats now share second place with Kent State. Both the Bobcats and Flashes are a game behind first place Toledo, and Ohio needs to win out and hope Toledo drops its next few games for a shot at the MAC regular season title. Bobcats already clinched a spot in the MAC tournament, but the Falcons are on the outside looking in. They are losers of 6 straight and sit 9th in the standings at 5-13. A win tonight keeps Bowling Green's hopes alive for a trip to Cleveland. And records aside, this arena is always tough to play in, so be sure to stay tuned to Bobcat Showcase on Twitter for updates throughout the night. And go to woub.org/sports for post-game content from Stroh Arena. Reporting from Bowling Green for Newswatch, I'm Brian Kerb. Back to you, Madison.
Thanks, Brian. And be sure to stay tuned for sports later on as we preview the matchup between the Bobcats and Falcons. Tip off from tonight. Bowling Green is set for 7 p.m. President Joe Biden is expected to address the growing situation in Ukraine at his first State of the Union address. That story's still ahead.
And we're going to be seeing plenty of sunshine through the rest of the week, but the chance of rain may return this weekend. I'll have more in my full forecast coming up on Newswatch, but first a look at stocks of local interest.
The United States of America is a country blessed with the most breathtaking scenery in the world. From every national park to every backyard garden. Join us for a grand adventure from sea to shining sea.
Dr. Henry Louis Gates Jr., Harvard professor, literary critic, filmmaker. He brings a singular passion to his historical journeys on PBS. Join me, Courtney B. Vance, as we explore the life and work of one of the leading chroniclers of the American experience, Henry Louis Gates Jr., Uncovering America.
The United States of America is a country blessed with the most breathtaking scenery in the world. From every national park to every backyard garden. Join us for a grand adventure from sea to shining sea.
We're all living with too much toxic stress, emotional turmoil, and frustrating disruptions affecting every aspect of our lives. But it doesn't have to be that way. Dr. Deepak Chopra shows us a path filled with inner peace, vibrant energy, and profound joy. Ancient wisdom combined with the latest in scientific research. Please join us for Deepak Chopra, your path to enlightenment.
Welcome back to Newswatch. We had wonderful weather today with partly cloudy skies throughout the day. We even saw temperatures reach the low 60s, and we're still at the low 60s right now here in Athens with humidity of around 28%, and we do have a wind from the southwest at around 5 miles per hour. And we're going to continue to see this nice weather heading into tonight. Looking at the surface map, there's not a lot of action going on in the Central Plains. And looking around Ohio, we do have a weak cold front that's going to be sitting around us through the overnight hours and heading into tomorrow. So we will see cooler temperatures towards the north. But looking through the night tonight, we're going to be seeing temperatures drop down to around 43 degrees. So if you have any windows open in your house, do make sure to close them before you go to bed, because we are going to still see temperatures reach near around 32 degrees tonight. And here in Athens, we're going to be around 35 degrees, near freezing, but those winds will start to calm down. So it's looking like it's going to be a great night tonight. And across the region, we're going to be seeing temperatures around 40 degrees here in Ironton. And then heading north in Newark, we're going to be around 31 degrees. We may see some patchy fog overnight heading towards the north because of that area where we do see the cold front, but it's not going to be significant as regular fog, but it is going to be looking really nice tomorrow as that cold front in the Central Plains remains stationary. And then here in Athens, we also still have a stationary cold front around the area, but that will be bringing some more clouds heading into tomorrow morning, where we're going to be seeing our temperature start off at around 35 degrees. And by around noon, we're going to be seeing some light winds and temperatures at around 52 degrees. But we're going to be seeing our temperatures reach up to around 58 degrees. We will have a west wind at around 5 to 10 miles per hour. And we will continue to see more clouds heading into the evening. But across the area, we're going to continue to see more nice weather, with temperatures at around 53 degrees. And then towards the south, it's going to be really warm with temperatures at around 63 degrees. And because of that cold front towards the north in Columbus, we will see more clouds to the north. And then down towards Ironton and Ripley, you should stay with mostly sunny skies. And overall, it's going to be really nice. And we're going to continue to see that weather heading into Thursday, where we will have cooler temperatures because the cold front has drifted more down to the south. Temperatures will still be relatively warm at around 52 degrees in Ironton. But here in Columbus, we're going to be reaching around 39 degrees. But looking at the 7-day forecast, we're going to be seeing really, really nice weather through Friday. Temperatures will start to rebound with temperatures on Friday at around 52 degrees. Saturday will be a lot warmer with partly cloudy skies expected and temperatures at around 68 degrees. But we are looking for some rain possibly on Sunday and heading into Monday. And those temperatures are really going to be warming up to around 71 degrees. But that's it for weather for now. I'm going to be handing it back to Curtis.
Thanks, Henry. Ohio's Republican U.S. Senator was among several from both parties who met with Ukraine's U.S. ambassador. State House correspondent Karen Cather reports Portman says there could be more to be done to put pressure on Russia and help Ukraine fight against the Russian invasion. Senate Ukrainian Caucus co-chair Rob Portman is a former U.S. trade representative. He says that Russia should be cut off from normal trade relations from the U.S. permanently. Portman also says the U.S. should seize Russian assets, close U.S. airspace to Russian aircraft, and stop buying Russian oil and gas. While Portman voted against impeaching former President Trump in 2020 for his phone contact with Ukraine's president, he claimed that he pushed Trump to provide hundreds of millions of dollars in aid to Ukraine as part of the impeachment case.
I encourage other countries to do it as well. Invading a sovereign nation, an independent democracy, no less, is certainly grounds to take that privilege away. We have the right to do it, and we should do it.
President Biden will deliver his first State of the Union address tonight. It's a chance for him to lay out his domestic agenda while speaking to the world about the international crisis in Ukraine. Isabel Rosales is on Capitol Hill with a preview of the president's speech.
As President Biden delivers his first State of the Union address, Russia continues to unleash the horrors of war onto Ukraine.
It's not a war, it's a genocide.
Addressing the world, President Biden is expected to remain firm. Despite the destruction, democracy will prevail.
The president has done an excellent job uniting our nation and our allies against Putin.
Even as he looks abroad, aides say the president's speech will also address the issues most affecting Americans, including record inflation and price spikes from the grocery stores to the gas pumps.
Inflation is at a 40-year high and hurting every American family. Joe Biden and House Democrats are responsible for this State of the Union in crisis.
President Biden's average approval rating stands at 41%. 54% disapprove, according to the latest CNN poll of polls.
We'll hear from an administration that has failed its own tests and which candidly has the public approval figures to match.
Inside the chamber, expect a full house, and masks will be optional. Optics that could show the country is turning the corner on the COVID pandemic. Outside, fencing and concrete blocks barricade the Capitol as police agencies prepare for protests.
Security plans for the State of the Union are robust, complex, and coordinated.
In Washington, Isabel Rosales.
Coming up in sports, the Ohio women's basketball regular season is coming to a close, but there is still a lot on the line. Right after the break, I will break down the conference standings and preview tomorrow night's matchup. And be sure to stay tuned to WOUB. Here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
Dr. Henry Louis Gates Jr., Harvard professor, literary critic, filmmaker. He brings a singular passion to his historical journeys on PBS. Join me, Courtney B. Vance, as we explore the life and work of one of the leading chroniclers of the American experience, Henry Louis Gates Jr., Uncovering America.
A year into President Biden's term,
Putin is the aggressor. Putin chose this war.
The country's still reeling from the pandemic.
With this most transmissible variant, the number of cases has gone really high.
Inflation worries on the rise.
I don't see anything going down anytime soon, but, we have to eat.
The State of the Union address and Republican response, Tuesday, March 1st. Coverage begins at 8 p.m. Eastern on PBS.
Lace up those sneakers and hit the hardwood, because Hardwood Heroes is back. Every Sunday night, we are bringing you the best basketball that the Tri-Valley Conference has to offer. Who will sit atop the TVC Ohio and TVC Hawking? Find out when you tune into WOUB Sunday nights at 11 and Monday nights at 6. And throughout the week, follow along on social media for scores, highlights, and more. We're excited to see you back on the courts, and as always, we're reminding you to be heroic.
We're all living with too much toxic stress, emotional turmoil, and frustrating disruptions affecting every aspect of our lives. But it doesn't have to be that way. Dr. Deepak Chopra shows us a path filled with inner peace, vibrant energy, and profound joy. Ancient wisdom combined with the latest in scientific research. Please join us for Deepak Chopra, your path to enlightenment.
Happy Tuesday, everyone. I'm Darius Sethna. The Ohio women's basketball team looks to end their regular season on a strong note. The team currently sits in 9th place and is on the verge of missing out on the postseason. Their hopes of getting to the MAC tournament are on life support with an 8-9 record in conference play. The team looks to bounce back after a tough loss Saturday to Akron at home. Ohio faces off against the Miami Redhawks in their final game at the Convocation Center this year. The last matchup between these two teams did not go the Bobcats' way as Miami took home the victory by just 3 points. Here's a look at the latest conference standings between places 4 through 10 for Ohio women's basketball. It does not get any tighter than this, ladies and gentlemen. Northern Illinois is the highest seed with the best conference record between these teams. Kent State still has some work to do, though, even though they have the most overall season wins out of these teams. The Bobcats are in a very difficult position as the 9th seed. Tomorrow's conference game against Miami is critical as they hope to get back to the top 8 before their final game of the season in Kent on Saturday. Game time is set for 7 p.m. at the Convo. With spring sports back in action, the Ohio baseball and softball teams have returned to play as well. The baseball team has gotten off to a shaky start after winning their first game of the season. They were on a 4-game losing streak before winning their most recent matchup against Eastern Kentucky 4-0 Sunday. They'll have a chance to keep the momentum going this weekend. The team travels to Evansville, Indiana for a matchup against the University of Illinois Chicago Friday and 2 games against Evansville on Saturday and Sunday. The softball team has a 3-6 record in its early season, but they went in a 2-2 this past weekend at the Hilltopper Spring Fling Invitational in Bowling Green, Kentucky. The Bobcats hit the road this weekend for the 3rd of 4 invitationals on their schedule. They'll take part in the Bulldog Classic with games against Appalachian State, Georgia, and UMass in Athens, Georgia. The Cleveland Cavaliers have had a rough start to returning from their long week hiatus. The Cavs have dropped 2 of their first 3 games after the All-Star break, including a 127-122 loss at home to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Cleveland has struggled to create a consistent offense with the point guard Darius Garland out of the lineup with back injuries. Their newly acquired shooting guard Karis LeVert is also out for 1 to 2 weeks with a right foot fracture. The team needs rookie sensation Evan Mobley and first-time All-Star Jared Allen to step up in their next few games. The Cavs host the Charlotte Hornets tomorrow before heading out to Philadelphia Friday to play the newly formed superstar duo of James Harden and Joel Embiid. I'm Darius Sethna, and that's it for sports. Back over to you, Madison.
Thanks, Darius. Yellowstone National Park turns 150 years old today. President Ulysses S. Grant signed the Yellowstone National Park Protection Act into law on March 1, 1872, creating the first national park in the world. There are now 63 national parks in the U.S. Yellowstone sits atop a supervolcano, and the Park Service says it has the world's greatest concentration of geysers, hot springs, steam vents, and mud pots. The park is spread across 3 states. 96% of it is in Wyoming, 3% in Montana, and 1% in Idaho. The park isn't planning any large-scale events in person for the big anniversary for now because of the pandemic, but it is holding virtual programs as well as some smaller in-person programs.
Taking a final look at your weather for tomorrow, we're going to be seeing high of around 58 degrees, so if you didn't take advantage of the great weather today, you still have another chance tomorrow. We'll see winds from the west at around 5 to 10 miles per hour, and that's great weather is going to continue through the rest of the week with Thursday and Friday heading up to around 52, but the chance of rain does return on Sunday. I'm going to be handing it back over to the desk.
And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Madison Moore.
And I'm Curtis Fader. Stay tuned to the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great March, everyone.
Support comes from the Athens County Convention and Visitors Bureau. More information at AthensOhio.com. Peace, love, Athens. Support comes from Hocking Valley Bank, offering mortgage loans or refinancing on an existing home, making it easy for dreams to become a reality.